you are watching, oh, there we go. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Mortgage Coach Friday Mastermind. Every Friday for going on 5 years, myself and Todd Bookspan have been hosting a mastermind with the goal of making you more productive. We're always bringing in top producers, sometimes speakers, authors, coaches, but people we think will help a loan officer, a local referral-based loan officer, be more successful. So guys, today it's a mastermind celebrating new loan officers and helping new loan officers. So to do that, I thought, I don't want to bring in a brand new loan officer, like, hey, first 3 months of the business. No, let's bring in some people that have gone through that trial period, that first year, and killed it to talk. So I invited 2 amazing top producing new loan officers. I have interviewed both of these folks, and check this out, guys. First time in Mortgage Coach history, since we've had a YouTube channel, we've had new loan officers that were among the top 10 most viewed, most engaged, most watched videos. So coming in at number 5 most viewed and watched video of 2020, we have Alex Cook. What's up, Alex?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Dave.
So if I recall, when I did that interview that got watched so much, you were on your 6th month in the business and you had just closed like 22 loans in a single month. Is that right?
Yeah. I think it was 22, 24. It was a blur somewhere up there.
And you ended your first year in the business at 12 loans?
Yeah, I think it was actually 104, but where the 112 came from was because I had to give so many from Michigan away because we weren't allowed to do business in Michigan yet. So I gave away about 12 to my buddy at a local bank, which now we're licensed in Michigan, thank goodness.
Sweet. So, hey, 104. At the end of the day, every new loan officer, one of the biggest concerns they have is, am I going to make it? Like I've heard of all these top producing loan officers that killed it. In Taylor's case, her first few years, she worked for a top producing team and like, am I going to make it as a solo loan officer? And so you made it. One important footnote for new loan officers, the way he used Facebook and the way he used Facebook advertising to accelerate his success in his brand and his market, it's powerful. And I've interviewed Alex a few times on how he's taking stories, promoting them using Facebook dollars, and closing loans. How many loans do you think you closed last year from your Facebook strategy, Alex?
Oh my goodness. I try to ask every single person, how they heard about me. And I would say, it's so intangible. It's like putting a billboard up on the highway and saying how many people came to you because of the billboard, right? You don't always know. Facebook does have some metrics that help you track it. But I got to say, I attribute at least 25% of my business because of Facebook. I don't think that's an exaggeration at all.
Sweet. Well, that's very cool. Well, guys, number 7 on the list for 2020 was Taylor Winkler. Taylor, welcome to the stage. Your story was incredible. She's been mentored by Tony Blodgett, who wanted to join today's call, but he's on his road off the grid to a camping adventure with a bunch of buddies. But Taylor, your story was super inspirational, and you almost closed 100 loans this year. You closed 99. Is that right?
Yeah, one shy. It was disappointing, but next year for sure. For this year,
right on. And I asked Tony, like, hey, what are some questions I should ask Taylor about? And he said that the way you're using LinkedIn is super smart. Not LinkedIn, Instagram, IG is super smart. I'm just curious, how much of your business or how many leads are you getting from social media and the things that you're doing?
I'm not doing paid advertising on social media, but I really use it just to stay in front of people. And so in my age group, I'm 25, like it's targeting a lot of first-time buyers because that's where they're at. They're on Instagram. So it's just staying engaged, staying present. And then I'll have random people reach out to me that I went to like high school with or elementary school with, and they've seen that I am doing well. And so they trust me enough to use me for the mortgage.
So like in the past 30 to 60 days, have you gotten leads in business from?
Yeah. Actually I had 2 last month that were just people from my sphere that if I know if I weren't using Instagram, I wasn't in front of them, they wouldn't know who I was or know that I did mortgage. So it definitely helped that way, but I don't pay for it.
Love it. And they both have something else in common. They use Mortgage Coach. They are, I don't know exactly how many TCAs. I'll look that up in a minute to see if they're brown belts, black belts, where they're at with TCA count, but they're using Mortgage Coach. So we'll blend that in. I also asked a couple mentors to the stage. We're going to have at some point Alex's mentor, Pete, join us. And then I asked Dave Gallegos to join us. Dave has always run not a team, but a branch in a company where he turns loan officers into mortgage coaches. And I've interviewed him before. And right now he's in the middle of mentoring and training some new loan officers. And I want Dave to weigh in. Dave, welcome to the stage and thanks for making time, brother.
Thanks for having me.
So just give us a real quick overview of how many new loan officers are you bringing into the business right now? So we get a feel for what you're doing.
4, 5, 6. There's 7, and I have 2 new people starting today, actually.
Cool. Well, guys, at some point in the conversation, I'm going to have Dave sharing how he's using the Mortgage Coach Black Belt framework as part of his, like his goal is to turn a first-year loan officer into a Mortgage Coach Black Belt in 1 year. So part of their, like, you want to get in the mortgage business? I'm going to show you how to make it. And I'm going to show you how to be a Black Belt advisor in the first year. So that's going to be bitching, and we'll get to that in a minute, David. Pete Metz, welcome to the stage. You are the mentor. And I think if my memory serves me correct, you brought Alex into the business. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Me and Alex have been friends for a while.
Right on. And then you're a top producer in your own right. So not only, are you a branch leader, but you are a producing leader, right?
Yes. Yeah. I have a branch here in Redding, California. And we have another five loan officers here in my branch here. And yeah, our team's growing. So it's super exciting.
Well, congratulations. And you're a mortgage coach. Thank you for, not only bringing Alex the story that he represents into the market, but you got him on Mortgage Coach quick. So good job to that, brother. All right, guys. So let's get into the mastermind. You know who all the people are. If you're watching this on Facebook, you can ask questions, put them down below. If you're watching this through our community, Todd and I will moderate that. We'll make sure all your questions get answered. Todd, I'm going to throw it to you. Any kind of framing comments you have, or if you want to ask the first question and get the party started, let's rock.
I'm super excited. I think when you have people like, Taylor and Alex on here who just crushed it in their first year, it's just so impressive. And then I love the fact, Dave, that you've also got Dave, who I think just does an amazing job of training and leading on here to share his secret sauce. I know he's been working on some stuff for the past year. He and I sunk up, gosh, it's been a few months, but I'm excited to hear more on that. And then certainly to hear Pete's story as well. So I think we got it all covered. So I would definitely say if you're watching this live, right, give us some questions in chat or in the Facebook feed so we can actually ask questions for any of these folks on here. And I just think it's really critical. I've been training for the last 2 years, my brother-in-law. Now I have to look and see what were the number of loans that he closed. But, it's so important, I think, to get young people in the business right now. I mean, the average age, last I saw it was like in the early 50s, and kind of like me looking in the mirror, I guess. And I think it's just so great to have some young, fresh people jumping in. And so I would just love, maybe why don't you just jump in first, Taylor? I think people always want to hear what is that social media strategy. And then maybe Alex, you can jump in after with what you're doing on Facebook. But if you could just give a little detail on that for the people who didn't watch your other video with Dave.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, social media is where the people are. So you definitely want to be where the people are, especially this past year, having been quarantined, maybe you're not getting out as much for networking events. So I thought high priority to be on Mortgage Coach, where you can have videos on your TCAs, and also high priority be on social media so that you can reach people and engage people so that you can send them their TCAs. So my social media strategy really is just being consistent. So I do have some help in my office with our marketing coordinator, where we just meet once a month and we plan out all the social media content, and we'll pre-film videos or just kind of have a calendar. And so she'll actually talk with me every month on like the captions, and then she'll be the one to post them. So if you need to have some help doing that, I mean, I recommend it, because I've tried doing it myself and it's just really hard to remember to post every day. And you can also like get sucked down a rabbit hole on social media. So you have someone else post on your behalf. just is more efficient.
I love that. Are you the one that's coming up with the content and then they're just helping you with that, or are they helping you with a content roadmap as well? I mean, what's your inspiration when you come up with a post? Is it just a recent conversation with a client, or is it someone you helped? What does that look like?
Yeah, so it can be, we do like tips with Taylor. So it can be a tip about anything mortgage related. We can do telling a story. So it would hopefully inspire people about, this veteran just used their VA benefit to buy a house 0 down, or this single mom just bought a house. It's been like a goal of hers. Like, we'll share a story, trying to evoke some sort of emotion, I think is important too, so that people are engaged. It's not just posting like the stuff that your company has, Happy Mother's Day. Like, I think that kind of stuff is kind of boring. I mean, incorporate that in, but being authentic and coming up with unique content is important too. It's hard to do that on a day-to-day basis. So that's why I say plan it ahead of time.
All right, I love that. So, all right, one last question for you before we ask Alex. So what was the number one Taylor's tip that got the most engagement from your followers?
I think it was the closing process one. It was really simple. Just like what happens when your contract gets accepted. I think I had a lot of coffee that day. So I think I was like, woo, like really engaged. And honestly, I think that's why. But I'm starting a new video campaign that takes it from like the basic tips to more in-depth, like showing some mortgage coach strategies. So I'll be changing the video content a little bit, but definitely bringing it with your full energy is the most important, because the people on the other side of the screen can feel that.
Love that. And I know Dave is really happy to hear you're going to be putting more TCAs in there this year. That's
Yeah.
that is big.
Yeah.
That is really big. All right, Alex, how about you? So just give a couple of your most successful posts. I know one of them was your single mom post that Dave highlighted, but if you could just share a little bit there for people who are looking for inspiration for content.
Yeah, that was one that really surprised me, because I think that I say this every time I'm on, but we tend to overthink everything and analyze what people are really going to want to see, what kind of content, what kind of posts are going to kind of go viral, so to speak. At least viral for us, right? I mean, it's not like hundreds of millions of views, but the ones that have really worked the best are the ones that I feel like I was the most authentic in. And I always try to be authentic, but what I mean by that is almost a little bit less preparation and just right off the cuff. And so I've been trying to do that more often. And that's why in a lot of my videos, I'm not really necessarily dressed for the moment. Like, I'm wearing a hoodie, I'm wearing sunglasses, I'm in my truck. I've noticed a lot of inspiration comes from like right after I leave the gym, which I've been so stinking busy lately. I haven't, I've fallen out of my routine with that a little bit, but I used to go religiously every single day. And I noticed that after I leave the gym, my mind is clear and I'm really positive. I'm really optimistic. And so I usually would shoot a video then when I'm really feeling it. Cause like Taylor said, I mean, your audience does feel the energy, whether it's from coffee or just endorphins from the gym or whatever. But yeah, so I think that the biggest thing is just pulling out your camera. Don't worry about the studio setup, the lighting. I mean, that's great if you can set all that up and still have the authenticity and passion of the storytelling. But for me, it's like, it doesn't matter what you look like. It just matters that people connect with your heart and with the story.
I agree.
Yeah, I just love that. I think that's awesome. I'd love to have Dave Gallego start jumping in here. So talk a little bit, Dave.
Real quick before we move on, Pete, if you could mute yourself when you're not talking, just so the camera it'll pick up sound, even breathing. So thanks. And then remember, guys, put your comments and questions down below. Before we bring David in, so I'm going to hand it back to you, Todd, to ask Dave that question. I do want to push any new loan officer or experienced loan officers watching this. You've got to listen to the interview I did with Alex around his single mom refi, because that is something that I think that strategy is something that every mortgage coach professional should have one. And just to give you 30 seconds on it, he had helped a single mom with a debt consol refi where she took some cash out, she consolidated some debts, and then he used Mortgage Coach to, show that, hey, you could prepay your mortgage and pay off your home faster. And at the end of the day, he helped this single mom lower her monthly payments, pay off her house faster, and take some cash out for some home improvements. And then he created this 2-minute and I think like 38-second video, put it on Facebook, boosted it for $100 a couple times. And if my memory serves me correct from the interview, Alex, every time you spent $100, you got 2 loans. And you got at least 6 loans from that one 2-minute video of you just pumped up after a client that you helped, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I would just add to that I think the reason that video worked was because I was impacted by it. My client was impacted by it. Like, she was practically crying on the phone and has since sent me many, she's become an evangelist for us. But because I was feeling it and I felt like the gratitude of like, wow, I can't believe I get to do this for people. I think that's why I just connected. And I don't like the lighting. I don't like what I was wearing. I don't really like, the camera angle. I almost didn't post it because I was like, I just didn't, I'm a perfectionist. I didn't like it at all. And it ends up being the most popular video. And I'm like, that's why I'm just like, Alex, stop overthinking this. Just post it when you're feeling it.
Yeah, and we're talking like over 100,000 views. And for his brand new loan officer, 6 months into business. Now, again, that story wouldn't have happened if he wasn't also a ninja advisor. And I did look up both your numbers, guys, by the way. So Alex, you have done 177 CAs in your first year in the business. You've created 16 in the past 30 days. So remember, if you're a new loan officer, these guys are better than most loan officers. Like when you do 177 total cost analysis, you've done 16 in the past 30 days. You're better than a lot of 10-year loan officers. And Taylor, you have done 183 TCAs and you've done 22 in the past 30 days. So guys, remember when you hear these stories of these first, Taylor's going on her second year, and Alex, like they're not just quoting rates and fees. They're creating stories and they're going beyond the transaction with families. So they're more comfortable, they're more confident, and they're more valuable. So I just want to make sure we didn't go past that first round. Like social media content's great, but if you are not truly delivering a better level of service and value, you're not going to be able to create social media content that's that compelling. Todd, back to you.
No, I think those were just great points. I mean, I think, the reason that these two stand out so much is because of the fact that they actually are using the tools that are out there, right? So many of you work for great companies that offer great tools. Some of you are having to buy the tools yourself, but they're investing their time and their energy into being better and providing better service like the veterans of our industry do. And so I think that's really where the kudos come in. And so I think when it comes to you, Dave Gallegos, and then Pete, you can jump in after, I know, you've had this great well-oiled machine in your branch for a really long time. And then this last year, you made a decision that you were going to start bringing in and training new loan officers. So maybe you could just speak a little bit to some of the leaders on here about your decision to do that and sort of how you launched into that.
Well, I've always done it, but I never did it intentionally. And that's what's changed is that, my top guy has been with me for 18 years and I brought him into the business. I hired him with no experience. My top 3 people are like that. So, 600.
Time out, just so everybody knows, Giuseppe, how many loans did Giuseppe close and how successful is he?
605 last year with a team of 4. So efficient, database, mortgage coach fiend. I mean, you've probably got his numbers there, but total cost analysis is every client here. I mean, that's our deal is that everybody gets a total cost analysis. That's what I preach. And, but I just decided to get really intentional about the process of targeting the right fit. And so I've spent a bunch of time, I've partnered with Zenix on this program. And I spent some time with Casey Cunningham talking about, how do you design a program that really just focuses on this because at the end of the day, given the fact that we're probably going into we are going into a slower market in 2021, the reason I like to target brand new people is because they have this whole database of people that we're not doing business with. And they have that sphere and they have that market. And it just, to me, seems like it would make a lot of sense to target people that could bring in a bunch of new clients that we don't already have. So, we built a 1-year program, and it's salary and commission and just loaded with training and with just like it's a really high bar to get in the program. So there's a lot of, I'm making people jump through quite a few hoops to make sure that they're qualified. I think it starts with the right selection. When you get the right person, if you hire somebody who doesn't like the sound of making several $100,000 a year in mortgage, but if you get people who aren't going to prospect, it's really challenging. It's like nearly impossible to get it to work. So, but it's been a blast. We're having a really good time with it.
So when you say prospecting, what are you requiring them to do? What's that? What are those commitments that you're telling them they have to do week in and week out if they want to be part of your program?
So before they start, they have to send me a list of 100 contacts that they're going to be prospecting. And during the next 2 months, they got to build that list up to 300 names that will then load into our database for them. And then they can begin to make contact with that group. So that it starts there. It starts with them knowing I got to get a hold of all, because this is it's a full contact business. It's a relationship business. And so that's where we're kind of bringing in the mortgage coach. We're bringing mortgage coach into the training right away by having them. So Dave said, get people to a black belt in 12 months. It's actually like 15, 18 months, Dave, but it's 20 a month. The goal is for them to do 20 TCAs a month, starting once they make contact with that database. And the way they would do that, if they're just starting to make contact, is contacting people they know. And if they have a mortgage, tell them, hey, I'm new in the business and my company uses this tool and I have to get 20 of these done every month. Would you let me do one for you? Send me your mortgage statement. And so, there you go. Now you got somebody's mortgage statement. If they can refinance, they will. If they don't need to, you've adopted them, because now you've got all that information that you get to stay in front of them with. So you can get 20 of those done a month, can't you? So that's the deal, is 20 a month, there's a bonus for them. And if they do 15 a month, there's a much smaller bonus, but they can still do that. So I'm going to incent them to do it. And then there's a big bonus at the end for hitting 300 at an average of 20 a month, which is, pretty cool. So it's 50, I think it's 50. That's obviously 15 months.
So a couple of things, guys. So Giuseppe not only closes a lot of loans, but he's got some of the best reviews online of any loan officer in America. Social Survey, who is the biggest platform in our industry, Giuseppe has been #1 multiple years, and he's always in the top 5. And again, he's done thousands of total cost analysis. So he is a mortgage coach grandmaster. He and his team do over 50 TCAs a month. So he's delivering a better service and value. He's getting better reviews. That's what top producers do. Hey, Dave, before we roll on, and Pete, we're going to bring you on next. One of the things I thought was super smart, when you called me to say, hey, Dave, you called me, Dave, and said, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to use the Mortgage Coach Black Belt framework to help, and I'm going to incentivize people along the way. I think your scripting was that, they got to give you those 100 names, and when they call the homeowners, it's like, hey, I'm new in the business. Let me do a total cost analysis for you. Let me, it was a combination, let me practice and let me, you wasn't calling to say, hey, I want to do a loan for you. It's like, I want to practice. And when they were calling a renter, it's like, hey, I want to help me practice my rep versus own. Could you share people that? Because I think that's very tactical. And I think it will help loan officers who are new get to that black belt status in a year to 18 months. And I also think it makes the call for the new loan officer easier when they're not just calling and say, hey, I'm in the loan business. Do you know anybody looking?
Yeah. Yeah. That's not, because nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to call somebody they know and go like, hey, I'm a loan officer. Can I do a loan for you? Nobody wants to do that. But if you have people that are in your database that know you, and most people like helping new people, if you're not asking them for business, but you're asking them, letting them know, hey, I just want to let you know this is what I'm doing. And so if you know of anybody that could use a mortgage, I'd love to help them. And if they're a homeowner, then and then you just segue into the deal about the mortgage statement. Let me practice this. It's this great tool that everybody at this company uses. Our company makes us use it because it's a great tool. And so I don't think it'd be that challenging to get that information. Same thing with a renter. So it's the same deal. Let me do something for you. Let me show you how this works. and just begin to make contact. I mean, it's just, like I said, and that's the whole thing about will they prospect. So we do a lot of testing and evaluating to make sure that we are getting people that are, not opposed to you have to want to prospect. It's sales. So, that's what makes all the difference, I think, is selection.
So I want to know what that looks like. They have to scale from 100 to 380, and then they have to prospect. So what's that requirement look like each day? Are they start the first day, they got that list of 100. How many hours or how many calls are you having them do each day? What does that look like?
So the first 2 months is all training. So the first 2 months, they're not making any contact with anybody. So they start with 100 names before they get here, and then 5 names a day added to that list. So 25 a week. And that 2 months later, they're going through the first part of our training, licensing, and then the second part of our training, all of our systems and tools, and they're practicing, and we teach them the scripting process, how to have a conversation, how to interview a borrower. The mortgage coach starts, the training starts after the 5th week, and they're going through like the new loan officer, some of the new loan officer modules that are already built into mortgage coach, which are fantastic. And so that's it. That's the program. And then when the selling starts at the end of 2 months, the selling begins, and I'm expecting them the goal is to have 10 conversations a day, 50 a week. If you're having 50 conversations a week, you've got work to do. So that's 10 a day. That's it. Have 10 conversations. We sell a product. I love saying it like this, dude. We sell a product that everybody wants. If they have a mortgage, they'll take a better one if a better one's available. And if they're a renter, they want to own a home, because this is America and everybody wants their own place to live. So it's pretty much everybody you come in contact with is a potential customer.
I love it. All right, Pete, I see you got your hand up. Why don't you jump in?
Hey, thanks, Dave. That's amazing info. I love this content. Quick question for you. So where do you find these new prospects? The first question, and then let's say they start the training. I imagine you have some loan officers that basically pick up those deals that they're getting, or are they kind of walking through with another loan officer on those deals?
Yeah, we have mentors in place. So when somebody gets a deal, like the first thing is they've got to know how to interview a customer who wants a loan. Like, hey, I want a loan. It's like, okay, so they have to know how to interview the borrower and do a discovery. We call it a discovery call. So they just have to know how to go through the progression of questions to get to the point where, okay, I need to do this. And by then they would have been trained on how to use Encompass, so how to get it into Encompass and pull credit and do a credit review. And so they've been trained on all of those steps. And when it's time to, like, okay, so you don't get to quote a rate, and you don't get to issue a pre-approval until somebody's reviewed it, right? So we have people in place to help them do that.
Cool. And where do you?
The sourcing is literally everybody here. This is really funny because I was thinking about this. Literally everyone who works here, except for one guy who is now like a lead trainer in that role, is referred to us by people that already work here. And that's where they've all come from. And then what I've been working on, that Todd alluded to, what I've been working on is just an intentional recruiting process where we work our database, where we let the clients who we already do business with, either borrowers or real estate agents that know how we work and how we operate. Our reviews are universal. I mean, Giuseppe has great reviews. Our entire company gets them all the time. And so the real estate agents that we work with are extremely loyal. And when we let them know we're looking, the kind of person we're looking for, we were able to hire a bunch of new operations staff last year, and they were phenomenal, and none of them have fallen out. So we get excellent. I think that's what we can find in our business, is that we spend a lot of time trying to like find people, and the people who already like us will refer us great people. So that's what we've learned. And then it's unique to everybody, right? Like, I can't compete with your database. You can't compete with my database when it comes to trying to find, leads of new potential loan officers. Okay, that's all I have to say.
All right. Yeah, no problem. I was
I have nothing else.
someone was on mute. So Pete, any more questions for Dave? And then I have a question for you. But any more questions for Dave?
No, I might have some more questions. I just looked them up on LinkedIn. I'll reach out to them.
All right. And real quick, before I ask your next question, I want to get validation from Taylor and Alex, just like a minute or less for each one of you. What Dave just told as a framework, I don't know if you did that or not. I'm not going to ask that question, but does that sound like a smart move? Like, if for all the new loan officers listening to this, are you like, that's a pretty good idea? Start with a list of 100, build 25 a week, call everybody you know and say, hey, would you, if they own a home, would you like me to do a total cost analysis and optimize your situation, or at least let me practice on you, or in all your renters? Hey, would you let me practice my rent versus own conversation? So Taylor, you first. What are your thoughts on that? You're on mute, Taylor.
I was that person. I was just saying that's actually very similar to what I started with. I'd call through a database, and it was mostly refinances. And then when I got one, I had a mentor there that showed me how to do it. So I kind of started with sales and then learned as I went.
Love it. Love it. What about that scripting of, hey, let me practice a TCA on you?
I thought that was genius. I was like, dang, I wish I could still pull that line.
Right. I know you've been doing it too long. But
Yeah.
Dave Gallegos is the one that told it to me. I mean, everything that we do here at Mortgage Coach, we learn from what's happening in the street. So I was
And
like,
I have to be honest. So I have to be honest. This dude who came to work here, and he's not working here anymore, but you guys probably, Chad Ogburn, so he's probably listening. It was his idea. He's like, why don't we just do this and start by going, dude, that's a great freaking idea. Oh my God. Let's just send him to do it.
What's his name again? Let's make sure we know his name.
Chad Ogburn. He knows I'm mad at him because he quit, but but I know he's watching. So but it's because it's a great idea. And I just, part of it is you have to believe in the power of this tool, which I do. And I'm not trying to do a commercial, but I fell in love with the tool in 2002 when I was delivering PDFs as total cost analysis to people. And I just fell in love with how it made me just an excellent loan officer, able to advise my clients so much better. And so I'm really passionate about that. And I want and then, everybody becomes an evangelist once they show it to a client, and the client goes, holy crap, that's amazing. I've never seen this before. Thank you so much. Yes, lock me in. And once that happens, as a brand new loan officer, you're like, okay, I guess I'm using this every time, right? And so it's pretty simple.
So Chad, thank you for that script. And a lot of new loan officers are gonna thank you for that. So Alex, what are your comments, thoughts after hearing all that?
Yeah, I'm thinking I want to interview Dave for an hour on his ideas. That was amazing. That was really, really good. So January 1st, I became my own branch, and so it was really, really awesome to hear some of those ideas. But yeah, that's perfect. I don't want to say I did the same thing, but I kind of did that little innocent approach with my friends and family. So it was just kind of like, hey, I'm just practicing out, real innocent, because I didn't know what I was doing yet. And then once I got their mortgage statement, 'cause that's exactly what Pete taught me to do. He's like, dude, just get a mortgage statement. Just get a mortgage statement. And I was lucky and started, at the beginning of the refi boom. I couldn't have asked for a better time to come into the industry. And then Pete would instantly, on my very first refi, he actually carried the whole conversation for me. We kind of both were involved, but he was doing the heavy lifting, and he did the TCA for me, taught me Mortgage Coach from my very first loan, which was a refi.
Love that. So Pete, let's bring you on stage. I love that takeaway. Like, just get statements. Like, how many statements can we get? And folks, just to know where Pete is as a mortgage coach, he's done 72 TCAs over the last 30 days, 793 total TCAs. So you'll probably become, at this pace, a grandmaster mortgage coach by June if you keep up this pace.
So Dave, yeah. So me and Alex were talking about this last night. I was like, I need to talk to Dave, because that's just like a last year and a half worth of mortgages. So I've been using Mortgage Coach for, I don't know, maybe 4 years now. And so I have a previous login that I had to switch to a new login
So you are
when I started
What do you say?
bond mortgage.
Hey, mortgage coach team, if there's any way we could give Alex credit for those past TCAs, he is a grandmaster.
Pete.
Pete, sorry about that. So,
It's all right.
Pete,
Okay.
you've heard this conversation, we're 35 minutes into it. We got another 25, but I want to know, like, obviously what you did worked. I mean, you crushed it for Alex. So what are some of your best practices that would be valuable to other mentors who are bringing people in, and also valuable to new loan officers? What are some of the things that haven't been covered that you think are important?
Yeah. So when I hire a loan officer, most of the loan officers that I have in my branch have actually, all of them that have started in my branch has started brand new in the business. And a few years ago, I started setting up my team in a way that when I would recruit a loan officer assistant, I would actually look for that loan officer talent, or basically knowing that I want to groom this person into an actual loan officer. And so I haven't had the best success on actually going out and recruiting new or existing loan officers. But the loan officers that I've actually brought on, trained, and helped, learn the business, it has been extremely successful for me. So part of that is the way I structure my team, making sure that new person that comes on board, they're instantly starting to train. Like every new loan officer assistant that comes on, they're instantly aware of Mortgage Coach. They start reviewing the Mortgage Coach as part of my process, and they have to review the Mortgage Coach for different parts of my system along the way. And so that's been a huge success for me, is really when I'm looking for my talent for a front desk manager, I'm looking for, long-term, making sure that this is a person that I could groom into, a badass loan officer or a really badass loan officer assistant or processor. So that's been huge.
That makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure we could interview you forever on this. One person just weighed in with a question, and they said, with refinances slowing down, what's the best information to collect off the bat for individuals who are looking to purchase? And I'm gonna give the first answer on that. So guys, with refinances slowing down for new loan officers, they should be well trained in a first-time home buyer rent versus own, and they should also be well trained on move up. There's a lot of families that can move up. They have enough equity in their home that they can buy a new home, sell their old home, and they could either pay down the principal and recast their mortgage and actually lower their monthly payment, which we've got examples of that in our YouTube channel. The Amber Kovarik interview is probably the best one to look at. Or they could take the equity from the home they just sold and invest it. So I think every new loan officer, pivot to purchase, you can literally within a couple of weeks be a Jedi Master at Move Up, be a Jedi Master at Rent versus Own. We do training every Wednesday at 11 o'clock for black belt training. So every single week, loan officer, you should be coming to our black belt training every Wednesday at 11 o'clock and just learning new ways to deliver value. Pete, how would you answer that? I'm going to go around the room because I think, Frankie, that's a badass question. And I think every new loan officer needs to know it. So we're going to go around the room on that. Pete, how would you answer that first?
Can you repeat that question for me?
Yeah, with refinancing slowing down, what is the best information to collect off the bat from individuals who are looking for purchase? But I'm going to rephrase it, just knowing that, new loan officers coming in, I mean, refis are great, but what's the best way for them to get purchase business, in your opinion? And I'm going to kind of go Pete, then Alex, then David, and then Taylor. So you guys can just get ready for your answers.
Yeah, if I was that person, a brand new loan officer, I would create multiple different rent to own, and then, like you said, Dave, some move up buyers, and then I would take those and I would go and call some realtors and show them what kind of presentation you have for their clients, and show them why it makes sense for it that they can actually help their realtors get these clients in the door and get them onto the onto that next step of purchasing or move up buying. The rent versus own tool is absolutely incredible tool. When I just had a client in my office yesterday that their eyes were like, boom. I showed them, in 5 years, this is how much equity you're going to have. And this is based on conservative appreciation of, 4%. And then I show them what the forecasted appreciation is, which is more like 67% this year. And they couldn't wait to get out of my office and start making offers. And they're first time buyers. And that gave me so much joy. That's like why I love this business, is because I'm sitting there and it's a family, and it's a husband and wife, and they're newly married. They just got married 6 months ago, and they're both looking at each other. It's like, it's an amazing feeling. So for sure, rent versus own, and then go and share that with your realtors and show them what kind of tool you have to help their buyers get into a home.
So Alex, we're going to come to you next on that. Pete, if you could get a rent versus own, once we go around the room on this, before we wrap up this call, I want you to show a rent versus own. And I just want to get a feel for how you do that. And remember, guys, we got Scriptapalooza coming up this coming Tuesday. If you have not already signed up for it, sign up for Scriptapalooza. There'll be a link down below. I'm going to have, Todd and I are going to have 13 loan officers. They all do over 100 million, and they're going to be sharing their best scripts in today's market. And there's some very specific scripts around this. So make sure you sign up if you haven't already. So Alex, what's your advice on that? How would you answer that question?
Oh, what was the last thing you said, Dave? What was my advice on it?
Yeah, like knowing if you were getting in the business, knowing that, hey, we're a little out of your refis are going up and down, and you got to be more focused on purchase. And you might just say, hey, what Pete just said, that's what I would do. Like, we don't have to come up with new ideas, but I want to make sure we give them the right ideas based off of this truth.
Yep. So Pete actually, as part of our LO training, sent myself and my recent LO that I just hired a rent versus own example, and that was awesome. So I'm trying to copy off of Pete in that regard. And there's just any way that you can provide value to realtors. And this might be off the beaten path a little bit, but this is what's popping into my mind right now. Is I've been preparing my realtors borrowers to bid over asking, and just showing them that, I'm in Indiana, Northwest Indiana, and we had 10.6% growth last year as far as appreciation, which is insane. I don't know what the national average is, but so I just show them, like I had a guy yesterday who a realtor sent him to me and was like, yeah, they're big in Dave Ramsey. They like want to save up and pay cash for a house practically, and it's going to take them 10 years, but this and that. And when I talk to them, I'm like, hey, I love Dave Ramsey too. I totally get it. He gives great advice, but it's very blanket advice for millions of people. And so I'm talking to you specifically. They just did a really great job of paying off tons of their debt using Dave Ramsey's, envelope system and all that, which is great. But I just explained to them about how much they're losing out on by renting, and showed them a rent versus own, like Pete was saying, and really just showed them how much. And I know we can't expect 10% appreciation every year, but I just showed them, like, if you have to bid 10 to 15,000 over on this house, like, that doesn't feel good to anybody. Like, you feel like instantly you're losing money. Everybody wants to get a deal. Even if something is artificially priced high, like a Hobby Lobby, you still are happy because you're getting half off, even though you know that everything's always half off. So anyway, I just show them, like, look at this. You're going to gain, I think we're forecast to gain another 8 to 10% appreciation. I was talking to a realtor, and that's what they were saying. So you're instantly going to get that back. You're instantly going to gain the equity back within the first year of living in the home, not to mention paying down your principal as well. So I actually got that borrower called me last night and was making an offer on a house. And that was just a week and a half ago that the realtor asked me to kind of just give them a little nudge. And I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think that it was right for their family. It's not like I'm just trying to talk people into buying houses, but it truly was right for their family They had done everything right. They had money saved up. And sorry, I think I just got interrupted by a call. Okay, sorry about that. And it was just going to be the right decision for them. And the realtor called me and was like, man, I don't know what you told them, but they're all fired up to buy now. And they're excited because the wife really wanted to buy the whole time and wanted to have the nice backyard for the kids to play in before they were grown up and stuff like that. And so the husband just needed a little bit of a nudge. And now he's totally on board and excited about it, excited about offering more than asking. So
love it. Well, hey guys, everybody control your mute when you're not speaking. Keep it on mute so the camera doesn't pop on you. We got 15 minutes left. Let's go around, try in the next 5-ish minutes. I'm gonna go to you next, Dave, but let's try to do it a minute or two. And then Pete, we're gonna come back to you and have you share a rent versus own. Todd, I'm gonna go Dave, Taylor, and then to Todd Bookspan. So Taylor, what are your thoughts? Or no, Dave, I'm sorry. Dave, you're next. What's your idea to pivot to purchase?
I can't top either of the ideas that I've already heard. The key to this is obviously, especially if you're younger and you're getting into the business, most of your friends, and that's what's driving the housing market right now, is that we know a lot of these millennials who put off home buying longer are now like, I need a home. And that's what's driving a lot of this demand. I think I love Alex's idea of showing them why the appraisal gap just isn't that big a deal, even though it just flies in the face of everything that you're wanting to do. And I just realized, like, God, that's a phenomenal idea. But as long as you've got that database, that's the key, is that you've got people that you can help. And you have to remember that, like, we all know the dramatic improvement in the lives of that family Alex is helping, and the family that Pete was helping. We know how much better their lives are going to be in the future because of this decision. And you've got to be kind of an evangelist about that. And you've got to be, and obviously, to Alex's point, you don't want to talk anybody into buying a house who shouldn't buy a house. We can tell the difference. We all know the difference. But when you've got that person who isn't seeing it for whatever reason, I think you do need to become a bit of an evangelist to help them see what's possible, because the future will change dramatically for that family. It's the difference. Everybody talks about the wealth gap in our country. Well, housing is the great equalizer, and it just is. So getting people into homes is better for us long-term than not. It's just that simple.
Love it, love it, love it. So Taylor, any new ideas or any emphasis on the idea that's already been thrown out there?
I will validate all the ideas that have already been spoken. As a new loan officer, if you want to get more purchase business, I think it's most important to continue prospecting, providing value to your clients, providing value to your agents, which you can do by using the tools that Mortgage Coach has. The rent versus own or the move up are huge. And if you just continue to give good advice to your clients, and if you need more clients, then show the agents the good advice that you're giving them. And if you need more agents, well, a lot of indoor dining has reopened, so meet someone for coffee. I would just say continue prospecting and the purchase business will come.
Love it. Todd, to you.
I would do probably two things. Number one is, if I didn't already have a list of 100 people like Dave made all his brand new hires get, I'd get my list of 100 people. Then I'd also take all the people that I actually helped buy homes and refinance homes last year, and I would call them all and congratulate them on getting in while rates were 0.5% lower than they are today, right? Call them up, pat them on the back, makes you look good. And then you're going to hear from them whether some of them are going to be wanting to move now, right? You have people who refinanced last year who now have been in their house for a year for COVID, and they're thinking now it's time to upsize, downsize, remodel, whatever it is. So you'll get loans from some of them. And then you have that opportunity to hear from them. Hey, do you know anyone else who's thinking about buying, selling, or refinancing? And guess what? If they're on that list of 100 and they didn't refinance last year, hey, you know what? You may still have a chance to refinance them again this year. So I think it's just a great time to go back to your database, go back to the people you helped last year. And then you also can tell the stories that everyone else on this call just said, because they're all going to be great conversation pieces, to your clients. Talked about the appreciation, like Alex said, right? Talked about how, if they were buying, they'd have to pay over appraisal. I mean, all the things that you just heard are just great opportunities for you to connect with the people who you've already connected with. And then maybe you'll do what Dave said and take that from 100 people to 380 people by asking for 5 or adding 5 more a day to your database.
Love that. So I'm going to net it out. So number one, is be a rent versus own Jedi. And that makes sense. A lot of new loan officers, they know a lot of young people. And so be good at that, but also be good at how you tell that story on social media. Listen to the interview with Denise Donahue on that. She's also going to be talking about that in Scriptapalooza. I changed my number 2 though. After hearing this conversation, my number 2 was move up. I'm going to change move up to number 3. And number 2 is be a master of the appraisal gap conversation. Here's the deal, new loan officers. Most senior experienced loan officers aren't going to crush that. And if you're in this community, one, you're going to hear Amber Kovark give her scripting around that and share a TCA at Scriptapalooza. And it's a big topic in every market where appraisals aren't coming in. And if you can be an expert in having that conversation, and then when you meet with a realtor, you can go, hey, let me tell you how I'm addressing this issue. Guys, I'm telling you right now, 90% of the loan officers in America are not going to be ninjas at that. So it's going to give you an edge on them. And then number 3, move up analysis. So let's do this. We got 10 minutes. Pete, do you think you could do a little tour of a rent versus own within 5 minutes and then give us 5 minutes just to speedball some questions at each other?
Yes. Yeah. I'll share my screen right now.
Todd, be thinking of some good questions.
All right. Whoops. Okay. So here is a rent versus own. This client's, they're paying rent $915 a month. They wanted to look at 2 options, one for $250 and one for $225. Now, this particular loan is a USDA loan. We have a big area for USDA loans here. And so showing him this TCA, here's his loan amount, here's his monthly payment, and here's his tax and insurance. I forgot to add the mortgage insurance in here, but anyways, so here's the total payment, and this is what I love to show my clients. This is where their eyeballs get really big. And so if we go out 5 years for this borrower, this family, they're newly married, you know, they may have, you know, $1,000 in their bank account, but they're super excited. They're eager for life. They want to go out and start working hard. So they're going to pay $58,000 in rent over the next 5 years. And this here is also with a 3% appreciation. And then if they purchase for $250, they'd spend $81,000 over the next 5 years. They kind of look at that and I say, wait a second, out of that 81, it's a forced savings account. So you're actually putting away, you're buying down your principal $28,000 in that 5 years. And so really you're only throwing away $53,000 on this mortgage, as opposed to throwing away $58,000 in rent, because you don't have any tax deduction or anything over here. And this is paying down your principal. And then I show them, you know, now wait a second, in 5 years, also what you get is your market appreciation. You buy for $250,000, and in 5 years, this is based on a 4% conservative appreciation. And I'll probably show them a graph of market appreciation, you know, over the last 10 to 15 years. And I'll even go back just to show them what is, why it's a conservative number. And then here's your loan balance, Mr. Customer. Your loan balance can be $223,000. And so in 5 years, you're going to have about $80,000 in total equity. And this particular client, they had about, I don't know, $30,000, $40,000 in student loan debt. And they didn't have a way of like really a plan on how they were going to figure out how to pay that off, because, you know, they're still in deferment. And this is like, this is huge for them. It's like creates a nice plan for them.
Boom. If you could share that TCA in comments, I would really appreciate it. So guys,
Yep.
I'm going to do 2 minutes and then we're going to go speedball. So first of all, we've got all kinds of videos in our YouTube channel. It's free. It's our gift to the mortgage industry. We've got a new loan officer playlist. Like I would literally, if one of my kids got in the mortgage business, I'd be like, you know, watch that. The other thing I would tell one of my kids is, hey, be active in Mortgage Coach, use the total cost analysis, be active in the group, but also, you know, have access to the Modern Mortgage Summit. So in the Modern Mortgage Summit, it's only $100. We put a link down below to sign up for it. Guys, we've got, I think there's, Todd, what is there, like 70 different presentations, and a lot of them are like 3 minutes and 5 minute how-tos. How many are in here? How many different how-tos?
60 something. I mean, it's just bite-sized chunks, right? We've got obviously those keynotes that are average about 18 minutes, but it's the fact that you can go in there and get those 2 to 6 minute daily, those daily little nuggets, morsels. My tongue tied today, really to help you grow, like looking for an idea of what my script could be today, or what can I do differently today to improve myself and improve my business. Yeah,
but this one, I'm going to close out like this one from Denise Donahue. It's like 12 minutes long. And guys, it is loans. Like if you have not watched this 12-minute presentation from the Modern Mortgage Summit, it's loans. Because here's what was beautiful about it is one, she does a rent versus own, where she shows how she does her branding, why she does her branding. Pete, she does what you do. She's like, hey, here's renting. Here's some different options. But guys, where it's at, it's like showing rent and options and being a master of this conversation, but then focusing on the long-term benefits. And guys, most loan officers that have been in the business for 20 years don't know how to do this, aren't doing this, and they're not showing the net worth build up over time. But guys, you know what else Denise is doing? Is she's great at having this conversation with a family. She's great with having this conversation with a realtor. And then she's great at positioning it with the agent, like, hey, this is how I'm going to build urgency up and help families build wealth. But then you know what she's also really good at? Now, how do I take that story and that superpower and create social media content around it? This is one example. I would just say every new loan officer, like, create your own version of this. Her sister, Deborah Bird, is a social media consultant. So make sure you follow Deborah and talk to her. But guys, this is what everyone needs to do. We came from it. Number one priority in 2021, pivot to purchase, rent versus own for new loan officers. Guys, we got 3 minutes left. Todd, any questions you want to ask people as we go into wrap up mode?
I don't know that I want to put someone on the spot with a big question with only 3 minutes, left. I guess, what I would say is certainly what would any of you, I guess we just go around the room, right? Why don't we just go in the...
Yeah, everybody's got 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds.
Give your last encouragement or suggestion. And why don't we just start with Dave Gallegos?
Well, by the way, Dave could go for like 5 minutes. I don't know if Dave knows how to talk in 30-minute sound bites. Dave, do mute yourself though, and you got 30 seconds.
Wow. I'm sorry. And Todd, I didn't hear what you asked me I should do. This was phenomenal. If that's what you're asking me for as a wrap up and takeaway. Is that what you're asking me for?
We'll come back to you last. We're coming back to you. Taylor, 30 seconds, words of encouragement or big takeaway for any new loan officers watching this.
Yeah, I would just say if you're using Mortgage Coach, you're already a step ahead. I had just started using it last year and I wish I'd started sooner. But it's just such a huge value add to clients. So definitely doing them to get refis and doing them to help clients choose the best loan option. Because I have a lot of first-time buyers, and you probably have this too. They want an FHA loan because they just hear about it. But I'm like, why would you do that when you can get a conventional loan and save, 0.5% on the PMI or whatever it is? So it's just a nice tool to be able to show them, actually, this might be a better option.
Love it. Pete, 30 seconds or less. What's your final thought?
My final thought for any new loan officer that's coming into the business, if you're new, is go onto YouTube, punch in Mortgage Coach, and just start watching. Watch 1-2 videos a day, and you will learn a ton. That's the one thing I tell my new loan officers, and that's my advice.
Love that. Alex, 30 seconds or less. What you got?
Yeah, Pete took my idea.
They can do one.
Yeah,
you can add on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to reinforce that because I was obsessed with just watching every video, anything from Jeremy Forcier to really just anybody who you ever interviewed, all the legends, and just take one thing of what each person's saying and do it. Don't overthink it. my biggest thing was, what do I have to offer? I'm so new, and I ask Pete a million questions every day, and blow up his phone for the first 12 months. And thankfully he always answered and always had the answer for me. But don't be insecure about what you do learn. If you learn something simple, whether even if it's just a rent versus own, go out and share it and use the heck out of it. And then until you learn the next thing. And you could charge thousands of dollars for a subscription that is absolutely free just to go watch all that content. It's unbelievable.
Love it. Todd, 30 seconds or less. What's your closing thought?
My closing thought is rewatch this video, do some of those ideas, whichever ones really resonate with you. But I would really focus back on what Dave Gallegos is making his brand new people do, because I know even a lot of you seasoned people don't really focus on adding people to your database. I love that idea of getting 5 people a day, put them in your database, and start calling them. I think this is the time to grab Landshare and be on Scriptapalooza next week, because we'll have some great realtor scripts, because you need those too.
Right on. So my closing thought is this. So first of all, to all the mentors and leaders that are responsible for the success of new loan officers, you brought someone into this business, and it can be a life-changing business. It's a huge opportunity. The leadership that Dave's doing, make them get those 100, make them grow those 100 to 200 and 300, make them use Mortgage Coach. Like, it's never going to be easier for them to adopt a more valuable way of doing business. Show them how to do it, then watch them, then they do it, go back and forth. And so, be a great leader. And yeah, my why do I spend so much time interviewing top loan officers, putting it into the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel? Because I believe that a mortgage coach is not only going to be more successful, but they're going to help families be more successful. So, we're all about changing and reinventing how people get into debt. And when they get into debt, they should have options. They should see the cost over time. They should know strategies to pay off their mortgage faster, or strategies to invest their money more intelligently. So for all the leaders watching this, I would just say you're not responsible for how hungry someone is, but you are responsible for the skills that they get in the first 6 months and 12 months. So hopefully we gave you some ideas, but now you, as the leader and the mentor, you need to hold your new loan officers accountable to executing on this. We hope you do it. If you are watching this and you got ideas, let us know what your favorite takeaway was down below. If you watch this and we missed some ideas, which we did, there's a lot more to talk about, and you want to share it, put it in comments down below. And big thank you for everyone who participated in this, for everyone that listened to it. We thank you for your time and attention. Give us a like, share this with new loan officers, and this call's a wrap. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
And a big thank
Thank
you
you, Dave.
to Alex, Taylor, Dave, and Pete. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man. See ya.